All right, welcome back to Trust Factor.
Boom.
I am Mike Gandolfo. He's Tim Hooper, and today we are talking about empathy. Tim, you've got to have a story from all the clients that you've worked with in the past of just being in a situation where either you have been felt very seen or the person you were working with has felt very seen, and how it maybe uncovered an experience that you never could have anticipated.
Yeah, 100%. One name comes to mind out of just at the top, and there's been so many throughout the years. Robert. I'll tell you about Robert. So, and by the way, have you ever thought about empathy as a service? Right?
Yeah.
When you're software as a service, empathy as a service. And it can't really be, I believe this, it can't really be um empathy can't be manipulated. So
Mm.
people think I'm going to use empathy to you can't manipulate. It has to come from a heart that cares. So empathy as a service comes from a servant's heart, a heart of service. But so how do you structure it? How do you build it? Here's how you do it. Here's how you structure and here's how you build it. You do what Robert did. Okay. What did Robert do? My wife was diagnosed with breast cancer right after the pandemic hit. So the pandemic is like March of 2020, shuts the world down. My wife and I had just come back from California. I was running a marathon. She came out there with me. We were meeting with this good friend of mine, helping my wife launch her podcast and get back. And she's going to get checked out an ear infection. She's like, I'm going to get checked out. And she kind of felt like maybe there was like a knot. She was like, I'm going to get this checked out too. And then she comes home like, we're going to UVA tomorrow. I'm like, what? Whoa. So I call my counterpart, Robert, up on my team, right? So not even a client, not even a situation there, although there's plenty of those. It's a team member. I called him up, man, I got to be at UVA. It's going to be, I don't know what the next few weeks are going to look like. And he knew I had so many speaking things I was already working to flip from like in person to virtual. So I'm getting all of these speaking engagements moved over to Zoom. So he literally took every single meeting that I didn't have to be. I was on maybe going to run it or whatever. I just saw in my inbox, canceled, 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 canceled. In my inbox starts blowing up. He's canceling everything he's put on my account. And then I get this message. I'll be taking a lot of notes for you over the next quarter. Focus on your bride.
Mm.
And I don't cry much. I'm learning over the years how to cry better, just like tapping into like heart and all that. So everyone's like, whoa, that was heavy, bro. I'm like, no, it's all good. And Mike, my journey and story, but here's the deal. That moment, I just hot tears. I just felt I didn't even try. Just hot tears, boom. And I'm like, dude, and here's a dude who literally just looked into my picture and said, and he'd been through stuff, right? And all he did was put himself in my shoes. Pandemic's going on. He knew I'm flipping all this stuff around. He said, every meeting you don't have to lead or be a part of. I'm going to lead. I'm going to step in and lead these team meetings. And you're going to take this and you don't need to be here. I'm going to take notes for you. Go focus on your bride. Oxygen. And I could breathe now. And it was still tough what we are about to walk through, but it made it doable. And so, Mike, same. You have
I want to ask some follow-up questions here. We got to go in. So, I mean, he gave you an incredible gift of just like the space is opened up where everything's gonna be okay, and I can focus where my focus has got to be.
Yeah,
Is that what I heard?
100%.
But you gave him an incredible gift, right? The trust to go out there and get it done. And I want to know, how much did he grow as a fundamental part of what you all do, based off delivering on that promise to you?
Powerful. It grew. Oh, he told me, in fact, when we, we're great buddies. In fact, we were just texting this week, just had another grandbaby born. But
He
when
did,
we
not you.
parted,
You didn't have any more.
when
You
we
didn't have
no,
a grandbaby.
not yet, not yet. When
We're still young.
when he and I parted ways from the company I was positioned with at the time, he called me up like, dude, like you can't leave. I said, you're the only reason that I really considered staying on longer.
Mm.
If it wasn't, and the tricky part was I was realigned with somebody else, and it actually made it easy to leave. I even told my wife, if I wasn't realigned with somebody else, if I was still like on his team, I probably wouldn't have left. And here's the deal. people don't quit companies, they quit leaders.
Man.
And, so empathy as a service, like we're talking real estate, we're talking business, but you're an SVP on here who's leading a region with a lot of LOs, or you're a title company, owner who prides yourself on being a high D and getting it done. Like you may be your own revolving door at the front of your company by priding yourself on being that high D and not looking at empathy as that's actually your advantage to being a high D. Stay a high D. That's how you're gifted and how you're created to lead. But look at empathy as like the clothes you need to put on. You know what I mean? So Mike, I'm gonna flip this to you though.
Well, I mean, you just like opened up so much there, because like it's not just how we interact with our clients, but it's also how we interact with our staff and how we interact with our team and how we interact with the people on the other side of the transaction, and all of that stuff,
Yeah.
right? If you just take a second to understand what someone's going through, right? You've heard the story of the guy on the subway with his kids, and his kids are going crazy, and the person just gets like really upset. It's like, won't you just control your kids? And he just looks up and he's like, I'm so sorry, we just left the hospital and my wife just died, and I don't even know what to do. Like, we just don't know what people are going through.
Yep.
I'm taking
goosebumps, man.
I'm taking directly to a client experience that we had where, so to me, when I think about empathy, this is about always doing what's right for the person. I'm not trying to make a sale. I'm trying to do what's right by the person. So we go into this situation where this is probably, I don't know, 9-10 years ago. This guy just got laid off from his job. He calls us up immediately. He's like, we're going to have to sell this house. I don't know how we're going to make it work, whatever else, blah, blah, blah. And so we go and we do the whole thing. We go through and we do our listing in a 2-step process. And if you don't know why, go back and listen to our previous episode. But we go through the whole process. We sit down with them and we just like, hey, it's our advice that you all should stay. You're not going to be able to rent something nearly this nice for what your house payment is. Everything's going to be okay. You're going to be able to figure it out. And we just encourage them to not make the rash emotional decision and to look at it from a more logical perspective. And it didn't benefit us. At least we didn't think so in the moment. We just did what was right by the person and gave them the advice that we would give one of our family members. And lo and behold, that one decision, by the way, that person's still in that same house today, like 10 years later, but it has turned into 17 transactions for us. Right.
Wow.
And so like, but it's so funny, the transactional benefits you get by not being transactional and leading with empathy. And again, that empathy as a service that you said, it is at the core of what our brokerage is built on.
Yep.
It's at the core of it all, because we know, and you guys are going to hear me say this so much, it's going to make you sick to your stomach. We know that moving is one of the most stressful events in someone's life. It's always on those top 10 lists.
Yep.
The other 9 things on that list trigger a move. Someone who's going through a move, especially right now in the current climate, is going through 2 of the most stressful situations of their life. And lots of times they're working with a professional who doesn't make it easier. Right? I mean, this is if you took that as an insult, it's a call for you to be better.
It's powerful. People don't care how much you know. We hear this all the time until they know how much you care. But I think really just stopping to reflect on that. Think about your last client interaction. Think about the last phone call you were on. Did you put yourself in the other person's shoes? Did you try to anticipate their need? If they feel a little closed off, did you ask a question to just slow it down a little bit and to open the heart a little deeper? Did you try to share how you're going to make it easier? Or did you ask, would this make it easier? Just think about, and what you just said, Mike, Jack Daly was one of my original sales mentors. He became a good friend. I'm still friends this day. A huge inspiration to me. But he called it selling or flying in rare air. He's like, this is like the Learjet of flying, is when you can refer somebody to your competitor, or when you can tell somebody, I'm not your guy, or I'm not your gal, or when you can say, hey, it might not be the time for you to refinance, or hey, I'm a settlement company that does it in this state, but we just got licensed over there. I'm not totally proficient. This is so complicated. You probably need to go with my buddy up there who's been doing it in Baltimore for all these years. Or he called that rare air, when you're doing for the customer what's right for the customer, not what you think is the benefit to you. And that's rare. And you just said 17 transactions from doing right by one person who seems pretty happy and may not ever move, but 17 transactions because you're trustworthy in their mind because of
Yeah.
empathy as a service.
Handle his mom's estate, helped both of his kids. We've helped both of his kids multiple times, actually. And then the referrals that have come off, that have kind of spiraled off of that.
Crazy.
And that's what it is. I mean, and we talk a lot about the Go Giver and Bob Berg on this, but it's an underlying principle that's in the Go Giver. The third law of the Go Giver is the law of influence. Your influence is directly related to how well you put the needs of other people's ahead of your own. And then you see that play out in the story of the Go Giver, because Joe literally does that at the beginning. He's told no by a client, and instead of getting all defensive and whatever else and trying to win back the business, he's like, hey, this person is a competitor of mine, but I think he can help you out. And then the payoff of that in the end is what's beautiful about the whole book. And I just think that you get to that idea of like, listen, I'll never be wrong by doing right by someone else. I'll never be wrong by doing what's right by somebody else. So
powerful.
Yeah. What about the book you have though? You were talking about the book.
Yeah, it actually, when you said influence, I'm like, bam, it teed this up perfectly. So during the pandemic, of course, flipping everything to virtual, the biggest question that I asked of our loan or mortgage companies I was working with at the time and title companies I was working with at the time, the biggest question I asked, Mike, that made the most traction?
What?
Are your people proficient on Zoom? Do you know how many Zoom trainings on Zoom I did about Zoom? How to share, how to mute, how to get on, of course, we all remember the viral about the attorney that was the cat. Your Honor, I am not a cat. Remember the movie that went viral? The whole world was trying to figure out. And to this day, I tell people the world is Zoomable. The world became Zoomable during the pandemic. In fact, your clients who are outside of the region would absolutely value a Zoom call if you just threw it out there as like, a lot of my clients prefer getting face to face. We can just have some time, no pressure, no rush. You don't have to be on camera if you don't want to be, but it's just Zoom. We could share. So I can share my screen, show you stuff. You'd be shocked how many people would be willing to go get Zoomable with you. But during the pandemic, what I found was a lot of people jumped on Zoom and they were like it was like Brody's room or something. And it's like this attorney I'm meeting with, I'd be like, so who's Brody? Oh, Brody's my son. I'm logged into his Zoom account, whatever. And it's like, because he's doing school a couple days a week at home or whatever it was. And you learn so much more. So anyway, I put this, the whole world basically was, for the first time, since the, I guess, Spanish flu like 100 years ago, the whole world was facing a common enemy for the first time in like a century. And so in my brain, I'm like, what's the number one thing the world's begging for right now? Of course, the U.S. Surgeon General is saying we're in a loneliness epidemic, and the pandemic only made that worse. And like, we are all trying to navigate and all the politics with it, not even going there. I'm just like, what would actually heal people? What would actually, and remember, I'm sitting outside of UVA in my car because I can't go in with my wife because there's only one person who can go in because they're all locked down and all the whatever. So I'm enduring that, thinking, okay, how in the world is everyone else doing this? I'm pretty young and pretty resilient, I felt, and I've been investing books and all this stuff into my mindset. How's like just the common person dealing with, nope, you can't come in with your like grandma. I'm sitting there like in my heart weeping. I'm thinking, what in the world? So I put this talk together literally in my car in the parking lot of UVA called Empathetic Urgency. I'm like, you have to see empathy as the most urgent ingredient you need for your life, your business, your people, your team, doesn't matter who. Empathy. And then people, like, there were a lot of like riots, there were things going on. I'm like, guys, empathy. Politicians, empathy. Like, people will look at like Barack Obama. I love how Barack could give a speech, how he can move people. And I studied it. In fact, in this book, Maria Ross, she talks about Obama and the fact that the most powerful ingredient he displayed as a leader, like him or love him or hate him, it doesn't matter. This is not political. What made him great as a leader was his empathy. And in the book, Tim Cook, he gives this quote. He says, measure your impact. So this, I went out and got this. I was like, there's got to be a book on empathy. So I started writing Empathetic Urgency. It's still in the process, but I started writing the book and I was like, I want to go read other books on empathy. This one is killer. Go get it, guys. The Empathy Edge by Maria Ross. But here's the deal. Tim Cook in here says, measure your impact. So influence, right? Measure your impact in humanity, not in the likes, but the lives you touch, not in popularity, but in the people you serve. There will be times when your resolve to serve humanity, like you, Mike, will be tested. Be prepared. People will try to convince you that you should keep your empathy out of your career. Don't accept this false premise. Tim Cook, guys, Apple. So here's the thing. You can't manipulate empathy. People will absolutely know if it's real and it's genuine. So that's, and Mike, I got to turn this back over to you because I think when it comes from the side of the heart of service and like all the way through the transaction every moment, I don't know of anybody who does empathy better and makes people feel so seen, even when it comes down to like dollars and cents. So,
well, I appreciate that. What I was going to say is like kind of going back to like, I just gave you the story how empathy helps with our clients. Here's how empathy has helped with my staff. I have found super talented staff members that I probably could not afford because I was like, and especially going to single moms not single moms who wanted to get back in the workforce when their kids got bigger, but they still wanted the flexibility not to miss the field trip, not to whatever else. Like we hire these people knowing that family is our number one core value. And we let them know that not only would be like, is it okay if they miss because they got to go see the school performance, whatever else, like they're literally going to be like almost in trouble if they don't do it. Right. Like we're empowering them that much to be like, you come here and you deliver the high level of performance that we know that you can, because I'm going to get so much more value for that hour than what I'm paying for it. Then I will gladly give you the freedom to go on the field trip, to go to whatever else, and know that, hey, we're going to make sure that you got all the tools that if it's kids sick, you guys stay home, that you can work from home as much as you can, depending on knowing that the kids always can come first. And that has been huge for us. Then in the business side, where empathy really pays off, is really twofold. Number one, I find when I work with a buyer, by approaching the whole thing with empathy, I am able to actually view properties through their eyes. And that makes my ability to advise them that much stronger. And then when we get to the negotiation side, anytime you can understand where the other side is coming from. You know what your person wants and what you need to fight for. But do you understand what the other person is trying to accomplish? Because when you understand both sides of the problem, you can typically figure out the solution to make it work.
Yeah.
And the least at worst, I guess, you know exactly how to position your side so that with a deep understanding of what the other side's going through, so that you're going to be more successful on the negotiation side. So those are my takeaways when it kind of comes to empathy. We've had several high touch episodes. Okay. And then today is, I think this episode is being released on December 10th. If I'm not mistaken, we are just days away from Tim and I going live on December 13th. And then we're going to get right into some high tech episodes, or at least one high tech episode. So if you're like, hey, all this touch stuff is great, which hopefully you guys think it is. The high tech stuff is coming, I promise you. And we definitely want you to tune in on December 13th. The link is in the show notes. Join our live audience, interact with us with the comments, and ask questions. We're gonna be answering them live on the air. I think it's gonna be great. What do you think, Tim?
I think it is, Mike. And December 13th, guys, tune in, grab your coffee, and then truly tune in. Mike and I, we decided through this podcast, we said we want to, like, we're answering these questions live. We want to take questions that we're hearing from when we're on stage speaking, when we're working with teams. We want to come bring those questions to you guys, or answer those questions in live fashion. And so at the end of the day, we thought, how can we make it where people who haven't heard us yet, or we haven't been in the same room with, could ask us those questions. This is your chance. So the live, we're gonna have some fun. As we wrap on empathy, though, giving people your attention, like really digging into their situations. Simone Weil said, attention is the rarest and most pure form of generosity.
Mm.
And I think today, like with your kids, like right now, maybe you're listening to this on a Saturday, a Sunday, Monday, it doesn't matter. Right now, there's something in your life that your phone screen is separating you from. It's like, learn how to put this down and give attention to people. That's how empathy, because at the end of the day, how do I grow empathy? More attention to what you're doing. Be fully present in the moment of where you're at. Be where you are. And so anyhow, I just, so much more we want to say and do, but December 13th, join us, Mike. I love how your whole business is built on empathy, and empathy as a service. AI can't touch that. AI can't touch it. So yeah.
Love it. All right. So if you love this show, please subscribe, give us a review. If you know someone who would benefit from this, please share it with them. Tim and I are on a mission, basically, to just change people's approach to this business, because we believe in both ends. We believe that you can have a massive impact in your clients' lives. You can put the boundaries around your business, and you can create the life that you truly want. So that's what we're here to help you do. And tune in next time. We'll see
Better
you on the live.
connection, better sales.
Let's go.